The mid-1970s French music scene was thriving in all directions, but few acts possessed the tropical headiness of the samba jazz pop combo Cortex. And from their 1975 album Troupeau Bleu, the track La Rue. Okay, all the way right in. I am just taken by those breathy, sighing vocals amid the somewhat grainy, misty production quality, that also mid 70s vibe. Already I'm getting like the vibe of like some woman with like hair dripping into her face with in Super 8 footage, like amidst the like bright glowing background lights of like mid 70s footage, you know. Those far chords they throw in there, they throw in like that like the E flat right in there, and also the way the Fender Rhodes is just the way it's produced in this kind of creamy mist in the arrangements. Say the influence of MPB from this period seems to have rubbed off on this band. I'm taking it was somewhat popular in Europe, and I'm also hearing some elements that were, well, I shouldn't say Poland because they were based in the U.S. at this point. Ursula Dudziak and her husband Michael Urbaniak, particularly on her albums from the time period. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm hearing a sound that correlates quite well to the Dudziak Urbaniak of this period and Flora Purim in particular from the Brazilian scene. She was based in the U.S. too, though. But quite a few of the acts that were going on in like the Brazil scene when the point at which the Fender had caught on and female vocalists down there were giving that more kind of erotic vibe in their vocals, that bedroomy, sigh type, breathy type of singing. Everything is in such like this sonic fog, and it's just the way that the Fender and is interacting with the drumming and those position bass notes. There's so much like syncopation and rhythmic harmonic density going on here, which is such a just like three instruments and then that persistent, you know, kind of misty hi-hat. And to think they're only changing between two key centers really, and yet they're just playing it to the hilt. I mean, instead of just going like dun 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 dun, because it's basically in G and C, and yet they're just playing it in so many directions. I mean, it just goes to show the rewards that musicians can uncover when they choose to just play the notes of a key center rather than just strumming the chord. Let's catch up with the lyrics to this song. Let's see. The street. What's on the street this morning? An impression that goes better. People have nothing to do. They are free like air. They glare at each other. Now that's interesting vignette there, because I had been picturing like this vocalist anyway. The depiction I gave earlier, I was picturing her kind of like in a daytime cafe backdrop, like Parisian cafe on a bright sunny day. The light's so bright that it kind of glows into the camera and kind of whites out everything. The street, she's like, I've never seen her. I'm naked and I'm walking aimless, and my bones are made of paper. And now we're getting into some real steep metaphor here. She's like, I'm naked and I'm walking aimless, and my bones are made of paper. The air standing on the pavement. The air is full of unknown perfumes. I think of like that as like the way the air can blow pollen from flowers into the air. But it could also be, it could be a positive and negative. It could be like from people, it could be from like women. And in Paris back in those days, women dressed really well, I'd imagine. Since tomorrow until yesterday, everywhere, always. I almost feel like I'm in kind of chronospaced, like a multitude of times, like almost kind of, or at a time standstill in this line. That love, drunk of love, I'm flying and I'm screaming, shouting. Granted, I don't know how accurate this translation is. There might be a few lines that are kind of confused here. The street, this stud coming up from the street, this rumor of the moving crowd, she presses me, lifts me, she pulls me from my dreams, bring me back to reality, So this person was just, I take it that this narrator was in a dream throughout most of these lyrics, and it was just a fragment of it was like a kaleidoscope of imagery, as dreams often can be, and was woken up by someone. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, it's like in passages like these, like follow the keyboards for like 10 seconds, then follow the bass for like 10 seconds, and take time to marvel at each one. Follow the drummer for like 10 seconds. notice that saxophone right there? Some good stuff. I love the remoteness of that saxophone, the dimension that it adds. Maybe the secret to this production is that it kind of sounds like it's recorded from an adjacent room on somewhat primitive equipment that nonetheless manages to capture a lot of breadth sonically. And like that saxophone sounds like it was in a different adjacent room, like in a different, like maybe on the other side. Eh. I think I've said this in another video before. Maybe it's like in a really large adjacent space with relatively good acoustics, yet recorded on primitive equipment, say down the hallway, perpendicular to the. With some of these things, it's like it's primitive. It's from another time, and yet that's what I love about it, because it takes me to another. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm just like escaping into a place where time doesn't really exist, and where I'm just out of the present when I hear, because one of the reasons I love about 70s and 80s music is because it doesn't sound like it's from the here and now, and I'm not looking to be I'm not looking to have the here and now reinforced when I crawl into the sonic space of a recording. I want to be taken away. I want to be taken away from the day-to-day routine. I want to be taken away from like the current events. That's why I've never understood this whole man-made construct of datedness. You approach a recording with sympathy to the time in which it was recorded, but and if you ultimately cannot get into the sound, then you look elsewhere. But a lot could be said on that, but enough for now. The vocals on that track were by Mireille. Let's see here. Oh, that's her only vocal credit according to Discogs. Let's see here.
Mireille Dalbray.
Mireille Dalbray.
Mireille Dalbray, huh? That's how it's pronounced. It doesn't look like that from the spelling, but let's see. Who else? Alto saxophone, Alain Labib. His only one other credit according to Discogs. Jean Grevet bass, had some real crafty bass work. The only credit according to Discogs. Drums, Alain Gandolfi. And he seems to be, he's one of the mainstay. Yeah, he's one of the guys who's on one of the bald guys on the cover of the third album. Engineer Guy Boyer. Oh yeah, I recognize that guy. Did quite a few soundtrack recordings during this era. Guitar by Jean-Claude. Was played on some Clearlight. Played on Forever Blowing Bubbles and the Delared Chameleon Family album. Also has played on Mama Bia Tekielski. Played on Emmanuel Boo's album. Oh, played on the Surya album from 1979. Kind of a Zoil jazz rock. I think that was one of the Lockwood brothers on it. Percussion Joe Pucheu. Oh, played on a Nana Muscori album. Let's see. Oh, piano vocals, Alain Mion. He was the other main guy in the Cortex project. Cortex were more of a studio act than an actual band. Basically these two guys with a bunch of enlisted help. It's basically Alain Gandolfi and Alain Mion. And they would do this album, and they would do two after that. plus a fourth, which didn't get released until the 2000s. Ended up in the vaults, but they're all pretty good. As a matter of fact, let's hear this short other track by them. Automne, Colchiques.
Colchiques dans les prés, fleurissent, fleurissent, colchiques dans les prés. C'est la fin de l'été, c'est la fin de l'été, c'est la fin de l'été. Oui, châtaigne dans les bois, châtaigne dans les bois. Se fondent sous les bas, se fondent sous les bas, se fondent sous les bas.
Some really great runs in this, some great drum rolls, some nimble bass work, a bit smoother this time. I love the way that she would throw in that sigh at the end of each line.
C'est la fin de l'été, c'est la fin de l'été, c'est la fin de l'été. Nuages dans le ciel, s'étire, nuages dans le ciel. S'étire comme une aile, s'étire comme une aile, s'étire comme une aile. Oui, et ça chante mon cœur, et ça chante mon cœur.
What is she singing about? Let's see. Colchiques in the meadows, flower bloom, Colchiques in the meadows. It is the end of summer. It is the end of summer. Yes, chestnuts in the woods, split, split, chestnuts in the woods, split under our feet, split under our feet. Yes, the autumn leaf carried by the wind, the autumn leaf in monotonous rounds, swirling tome. It is the end of summer, yes, cloud in the sky, stretches, sketches. It's basically just a bunch of observations about the onslaught of autumn. Wow, some very impressive vocal technique employed at the end, really giving it just a lot of flair, a lot of vibrancy there. Yeah, that was Cortex with Autumn Colchiques from the 1975 release Troupeau Bleu. Yeah, their first of four great albums, great band, bringing that samba jazz pop flavor into the French scene. Mixed with some of the local sounds too, like in the keyboards and that whole creamy vibe. Like another band I would liken this to is the Belgian band Kos. Yeah, and who also employed some samba influence with really lilting, feminine vocals into this French, Belgian jazz rock sound of the time period. Yeah, basically Ursula Dudziak, Kos, Cortex, and to a lesser extent Flora Purim, although she's a bit more kind of Americanized around this time period. Yeah, you could almost say kind of a loose, like a correlation, just multinational, when the influences of jazz rock, samba, and symphonic, music's within that whole Fender-laden framework, and paired with the kind of sexualized, heady, kind of warm-blooded vibe of the 70s, particularly when you're mixing European and South American influences, and that kind of free-flowing vibe of 70s era Europe and the warm-bloodedness of Brazilian culture. Yeah. For more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of Cortex, see the directory of albums by French artists linked in the description below. For red hot tracks and tasty purples from the Cortex albums, as well as many other French acts from the time period, like Emmanuel Bouze, Ange, Atoll, Mona Lisa. The list goes on and on and on. Clearlight. And like and subscribe and follow me on social media. Oh, Edition Special. They're another act I could add kind of into that category I was just listening. Had a similar creamy vibe to them. Yeah, they're on the French list as well. In the French directory. And as you go through like the 11 pages of it, because there's like almost 1,100 albums on the directory, and they're all Ruby mined, and a lot of them complete discographies. You can click on the album link to go the direct album page for more information. You can right click, queue up the tracks and bring them up in another tab. Usually a video. A YouTube video to the song in question will be the first match that you'll get. Anyway, leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the complexity of either of these tracks or their meaning. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled trimaximalist, signing off.